Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today probably falls into the category of videos that are a bit niche and more for me possibly than for you, but I'm very excited to share with you a very important little part of my life, and that is my fork. Now, this fork is probably one of the oldest possessions I've got. It's probably one of the things in my life that's been with me for the longest. And it's a fork that I have always been drawn to. I love the design of this fork. I love the profile of it. I love how the neck rises to meet as it were, the shovel of the fork. The prongs are really nice, the way that they are shaped and get wider at the base with little elegant curves joining them. I love how the handle gets wider at the top. It feels really good in your hand. I love that it's stamped 1987 HM & Co. Stainless steel, Sheffield stainless steel, and I love that it's been a constant companion for me. And I think it was a constant companion long before I knew its origin. This fork, I think I was drawn to originally purely because of its design, because of how it looked and felt, and because also it stood out in the cutlery drawer. It was a bit different to everything else that we had in the house. And it wasn't until, I don't know, maybe I was 10 or 11 that I realised that this fork had been my dad's fork. Now, it's sort of been my dad's fork because on the front of it, it says hospital property on the handle there. And this fork is actually a fork that my dad seemingly had liked and had nicked from the hospital when he was having his treatment for bowel cancer before he died when I was sort of 4 or 5 years old. So he seemingly loved this design and this particular form and the function that comes out of the form of the fork before I did, and hence he took it home with him. And that's really cool, in so much as I don't think I was drawn to the fork because it had been my dad's fork. I don't think I noticed that Dad had a particular fork when I was 4 or 5, or maybe I did. I've always noticed small details, but as far as I can remember, I've always appreciated the design of the fork ahead of the fact that anyone else had owned it before me. The fact that it was his is a lovely bonus, and it means that my fork has a lineage. Now, I'm sure for some of you this is a bit odd because having your own fork can be a sign of having certain obsessive tendencies, or being on some sort of spectrum or something, or being really fussy. And I should make it clear, I can eat with other cutlery. I don't mind using other forks and other knives and spoons. I just prefer to use this fork, my fork. And what's lovely is that my lovely wife has fully embraced this. Whenever possible, my fork is the fork that she'll put on my plate if she's making food that night. And when we travel, my fork does come with us, but often it's because she has said, "Do you want to? Let's pack your fork, shall we?" Because she knows it's comforting. She knows that I love my fork so much that it's just a nice thing to have around. Now, we do have limitations. For example, when we visit friends' houses, I don't take my fork along with me unless we're on a road trip or something. And even then, if I do have it with me, thankfully, most friends, in fact, no, all of my friends so far, everyone we've known who's seen me with my fork on the road, they've embraced it and they've loved the fact that I have a fork. Interestingly, my brother had a spork that he loved, but it fell by the wayside after a few years. So he had a very intense relationship with a spork that doesn't really compare to my relationship with this fork. Now, a couple of years ago, we were having dinner at some friends, and I noticed, I hadn't taken my fork with me, incidentally, but I'd noticed that they had a spoon that was from the same set as my fork. And this spoon looked like this. It's a very similar design. The handle is very similar. The sort of the rise to the bowl of the spoon is very similar. Again, we have Sheffield stainless steel, hospital property on the handle. Interestingly, the hospital property on the spoon handle is on the back of the spoon, not on the front, whereas with the fork it's on the front of the handle. Anyway, they had this, well, not this spoon, they had a spoon like this, and I was very drawn to it. I was like, oh, that is the spoon that goes with the fork. And so we had to, well, they already knew that I had a fork, but we had to sort of explain my excitement to them. And rather lovelily, it then became my spoon. Whenever I visit them now, this is that is the spoon that they give me. The spoon like this one is the one that this is put at my place at the table. So in that house I have a spoon. In this house I had a fork, and then eventually I got this spoon. I got a spoon to match when I found it in a bric-a-brac store. It was just in a house clearance type place, sort of quasi-antique store, in a pile of knives, spoons and forks. And I saw it, recognised it immediately, and obviously had to have it for 50p or something. A spoon to match my fork. I simply couldn't believe my luck, and now these two are my constant companions. I use this guy for breakfast and for soup and for desserts. Much to my lovely wife's irk, actually. She's sometimes like, oh come on, just can't you use a soup spoon for your soup? Can't you use a But she only teases me. But anyway, this is my spoon and this is my fork. Now the inevitable question is there a knife out there? And I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know. I haven't been able to find any evidence of a knife to match the spoon and fork, but presumably there must be a hospital property knife out there that will complete this set. And if I ever come across it, actually, funny enough, my wife was speculating the other day, I will reach some sort of ultimate Zen contentment. I will just evaporate into stardust. Just, my purpose on life is complete. On earth is complete. If I ever find the knife. But if I do find the knife, I'll be very, very happy indeed. So there you go. This is a slightly strange one, as I say, possibly more for my benefit than for yours. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting where there isn't judgment. Perhaps actually you have your own cutlery that you prefer. If you do, please do comment below. Let me know. If you happen to know where there's a knife that goes with this spoon and fork, I will be forever in your debt. If you can put me on track for that. But ultimately, I love this fork and spoon, or spoon and fork. I love them, and more than my jewelry, more than things like watches, or I guess even actually my dad's pipe over there. These guys are so important to me, so intrinsic to my day-to-day life that I can't imagine being without them. These might be the things that I rescue from a house fire if this place ever burns down. Touch wood, touch all the wood. But I don't want to have to make that choice, obviously. So hopefully not. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye.